It's been about a year since I moved to Portugal, and in that year I have learned quite a few things about moving here and living here. I decided it would be a good time now to talk about some of the things that I've learned and conclusions that I've drawn for myself. Talk about those and share them with you so that you are better prepared for when you are planning your move to Portugal, or if you are going to move to Portugal in a short while. And while I'm unpacking my backpack, I want to say thank you to Waterfly for giving me this awesome backpack. I will talk more about the backpack later in the video. Throughout the past couple of years, Portugal has become really popular as a destination for people to move to because of the cheap houses and the cheap houses that you can buy with a lot of land. And maybe you are thinking of buying a house with a lot of land, thinking a couple of acres maybe with vineyards, olive trees, fruit trees, place for a little garden where you can grow your own vegetables. But when you think of buying land, you might not realize how much an acre really is. When we started looking for houses with land, we were thinking maybe somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 square meters is what we wanted. But then when we got here and saw places with that amount of land, we realized that that is actually a lot of land to maintain. And having so much land also comes with a couple of responsibilities. One of them being having to make sure your land is cleared before summer starts and before the fire season starts. That is one of the requirements the government puts in place here, and that can actually take quite some time. So yeah, when we came here, we decided to go with less than 5,000 square meters. We ended up with 3,000 square meters of land, and we thought, okay, that's going to be perfect for us. But now we've been here for a year, we realize even 3,000 square meters is a lot of land to maintain. I think at the moment we're using about 1,000 square meters, and that is already quite a bit of work. So keep that in mind, that when you are looking for a property with land, think about how much land you really need and want, and how much time you have to spend on working on the land, because you probably are also restoring that old house and working along the way. Another thing that you should be aware of is the cost of living here in Portugal. Think about how much money you're going to have to spend and what your expenses are going to be. A lot of the people think that Portugal is a very cheap place to live in, and it can be, but it can also get quite expensive. If you're moving to a city like Porto or Lisbon, houses are getting really expensive, both for renting and buying something. You can rent something for 1,000 to 2,000 euros a month, and you don't really get anything that great or that big. If you are buying something, the housing prices have gone up in the last couple of years and even the past months. So a mortgage, if you need to take out a mortgage, might also cost you quite a bit and might take up a big portion of your budget. I made a video a while ago about the cost of living in Portugal. You can watch it here or watch it at the end of this video, and then you will get a better idea of what it might cost to live here. Now, with that being said, your living expenses are going to vary a lot depending on your personal preferences, so the cost of living is really personal. Before I continue with the next point that you should keep in mind when you're planning to move here to Portugal, I want to talk about the Shaolin backpack that I got from Waterfly. It is a backpack that extends up to 26 liters, and it is actually a comfortable backpack. We hiked here from our house to this place, and it was a bit longer than I expected, and for the entire time my shoulders were not hurting at all because it has a nice padding at the back. It has also strips for around your hip and your chest. And on top of that, it has a lot of pockets. I think there's about 12 different places where you can put things. So it has a front pouch here. There's space for a water bottle here on the side. Here is a little zipper where you can put in something that's more valuable, like maybe your passport for if you're traveling, or your wallet if you're using this backpack for your daily commute. Another nice feature of the backpack is that you can not only take things out and put things in from the top, but also here from the side, because this back flap opens all the way. And then you have the back pouch here. This part, zippers, pouches for things. Your computer fits in here. So there's a lot of place to put things in, and it's like super comfortable. If you want to know more about this backpack and you're interested in it, you can click on the link in the description below. Another thing that you should really look into before you come to Portugal is getting your visa and how you're going to set up your residency here. If you have an EU passport like I do, I have a Dutch passport, it's going to be super easy to get your residency here. It only took me 3 weeks. I just had to go to the local county. They signed a paper that was sent off, and within 3 weeks I was a resident here. But if you don't have a passport from a European country, it's going to be a lot more complicated. And Miguel knows all about it because he has a US passport.
Yeah, so my journey has been a little bit more difficult in terms of getting legal status. I'm legally allowed to be in the country, but I don't have a residence permit yet. And it's been about a year now, which means if you don't come with a proper visa or with a plan in place, you may end up getting a little stuck. I'm currently stuck, and I'm allowed to be here because we're married, but in order to travel to the rest of Europe, I've technically overstayed my visa. So we're in this situation where I'm kind of stuck in Portugal because the IMA is very slow at processing applications. I have all the paperwork, everything's fine, I have a lawyer, but they won't give out appointments. So be very aware of that drawback right now within the Portuguese legal system. And it's also kind of all of the bureaucracy is a little slow here. We found that out after coming. So I'll be a big concern for when you choose to live in Portugal.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm. And because you are not able to get your residency, it also
affects many things.
Yes, like you cannot open a bank account here, like without a residency as a U.S. citizen.
It's very difficult.
A lot more difficult.
Yeah.
You cannot start your driving lessons. You're not.
I can't officially go to the school that we're taking Portuguese lessons at because, again, it's for residents of Portugal.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm allowed to go, but I'm not really officially in the system.
Yeah. So that is really something that you should look into before making the jump to come here and making that decision, so you know what you can expect and that you're not going to have any unpleasant surprises. Speaking of the school that Miguel just mentioned, make sure that you learn some Portuguese before you arrive here in Portugal. I didn't learn any Portuguese before I got here, and I have to say that made it quite a bit more challenging to get around and take care of some of the paperwork that had to be done when we first arrived. Learning a bit of the language will help you a lot with that. It will be easier to, for example, get your residency, go to the finances office where you often need to go to take care of a lot of paperwork. Even something simple as going to the supermarket or going to a cafe and ordering coffee and pastry will be a lot easier if you know some Portuguese. And even if you don't learn much Portuguese before you arrive here, do start learning the language as soon as you get here, because it's really going to make your life a lot easier, not only from a paperwork perspective, but also from a perspective of getting to know the people in your neighborhood and making new friends. The last thing that you should really think about and be aware of when you are planning on moving to Portugal is the weather here and the seasons. Portugal has this image of being a country with great weather all year around, and that the weather is always amazing. And yes, there is some amazing weather, but it's definitely not all year round. The time leading up to summer is usually pretty nice here. It's not too hot. Once summer hits, it can get really hot here with temperatures up to 40 degrees Celsius. And when it's that hot and it's super dry, it's really not that great of a climate. And on top of that, when temperatures get that high, there is a risk of forest fires, and those can be really devastating. We saw that in the 2017 fires, but also last year there were a lot of forest fires in this area. So when you are researching on where you want to move in the country, that is really something to keep in mind. Besides the hot and dry summer season, there is also the wet and cold winter season. In winter it can get cold, especially in the inland. In certain areas it can get below freezing. We here last winter had a couple of nights where it was below freezing, so it can get pretty cold. And you will feel that in your house too, especially if you are living in an older house that is not insulated. And in those months, January to March, there's a lot of places in Portugal that get a lot of rain as well. And you need to be prepared for that. We did not really do our research on what the climate was in this area. And when the rainy season started, we were caught by surprise. We didn't expect it to rain so much. So when you are looking into which region of Portugal you want to move into, definitely check up on the weather reports and what the weather is like in that region. So when you get to the region and you decide that you want to live there, you're not going to be surprised by how much rain there is or how cold it gets. Those are the 5 things that I learned and wish I had known before I came to Portugal, and I wish I'd done a little bit more research on these topics before moving here and deciding to move to this specific location. If you have anything to add to this list, drop it in the comments. Once again, thank you Waterfly for sending me this backpack. If you are interested in it, check the description box below for a link. And if you want to watch more of my content, you can watch this video in which I explain why I moved to Portugal. And I would love for you to give this video a like if you liked it. Leave a comment. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.